Fifth graders, how's it going? Mrs. Bandy here. You just had the opportunity to watch the Learning Bridge video on the order of operations. And you saw some really great examples as to why we use order of operations. We know that through the video that you learned that it's an agreed upon order in order to solve problems. You were able to see the two students' examples that showed you why we have to use order of operations. If you don't follow the order of operations, you can get a different answer. And you saw that with the two student examples. I, as a student, long time ago, learned about order of operations, and my teacher was really awesome. She gave me a little saying in order to remember which operation I do first, second, third, fourth, and so on. And that saying is on the screen right now: pudgy elves may demand a snack. And that stands for, you can see that the first letter in each of those words is highlighted in pink to show you that the pudgy represents parentheses. The elves, or the E in elves, represents exponents. The M in may represents multiplication. The D in demand represents division. The A is addition, and the S in snack stands for subtraction. So this is just a good way to help you remember which operation you do first, second, third, fourth, and so on. Before we get started with solving problems using the order of operations, I just want to review a couple of the words. I want to review the word parenthesis, and I also want to review the word exponents. Exponents is something that we learned about earlier in the school year. Remember that number 2 right there in 7 squared, that number 2 is the exponent. And if you can recall, you remember that that is saying that 2, and I told this to my class, that 2 is like the boss. It's telling that 7 how many times 7 needs to be multiplied. That means that it's saying that you have to multiply 7 times 7. It is not saying that you multiplied 7 times 2. That is not what it's saying. Absolutely not. It is saying that it's the boss. It's telling you how many times 7 needs to be multiplied. In this case, it has to be multiplied twice, so it's 7 times 7. I also wanted to talk about and just refresh your memory on what is a parenthesis. This right here and this right here, those are parentheses. So the 6 plus 7 squared is inside of the parentheses. So that's just a reminder of those two words as we're moving forward. So we just had the opportunity to refresh our memories on what are parentheses and what are exponents. Now we need to talk about what comes next: multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. This is where it can get a little tricky when we're solving problems using order of operations. It's not cut and dry. It's not multiplication, we do multiplication, then we do division, then we do addition, then we do subtraction. I wish it was that easy. However, we have to, after we've looked to see if the problem has parentheses and then does the problem have exponents, we need to move into both multiplication and division, which I know sounds a little tricky, but with some practice, you guys will have it down. So this means, you know, we always solve our problems moving from left to right. We saw that in the Learning Bridge video. So that means I start over here with my 4, and I move from the 4 and I go to the right. Multiplication and division are interchangeable. So it's not that you solve all of the multiplication in the problem first and then move into division. It's that you solve multiplication and division moving from left to right. So that means, like in this situation, in this problem, you can see I have 8 times 6, and then I have 6 divided by 2. I'm moving from left to right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to solve the 8 times 6. Then I'm going to continue moving right. So let's take a look and let's do this together. So the first thing I said is we're looking for multiplication and division. They go together. They're not separate entities. They go together. So that's why I put my hands together so that you can remember that. So 8 times 6, what is that? Yell that out to me. Right. It's 48. So I'm going to rewrite the problem. I have 4 plus 48 divided by 2 plus 3. And I always rewrite the problem to help me so that I don't forget what I've already done. Okay, so then I'm going to continue on multiplication and division together because you've already told me there's no parentheses, there's no exponents. So in my new problem, moving from left to right, do I have any more multiplication or division? Right, I have division. I have 48 divided by 2. So I'm going to give you a minute to figure out what is 48 divided by 2. Right, 24. So what am I going to do? I'm going to rewrite the problem. 4 plus 24 plus 3. Do I have any more multiplication or division? No. So now I can move on to addition and subtraction, and they work the same way as multiplication and division. They are together. They are not separate entities. They are together. You solve them moving from left to right. So in this case, I only have addition. But if I had a problem where I had addition and subtraction, I would solve whichever one comes first, moving left to right. And you'll see that as in an example in the next screen. So I can go ahead and solve. So I'm going to solve 4 plus 24, right, which is 28. I'm going to come over here so I have a little bit more room. Rewrite my problem. And then I have 28 plus 3, which is, right, 31. So that is the answer to my problem. Okay, so we've talked about what are parentheses, what are exponents, we refreshed our memory. We talked about moving from left to right when we solve the problems for order of operations. We talked about how multiplication and division are solved before addition and subtraction. And then we also talked about how multiplication and division are not separate entities. They're not separate. They come together. So you do multiplication and division moving left to right, whichever one of those two comes first. Same thing with addition and subtraction. They go together, moving from left to right. Let's take a look at this problem and let's solve this problem together. I have 120 minus 40 divided by 4 times 6. I'm going to go through my order of operations to see what I'm going to do first, what operation I'm going to do first. All right, so let's move forward. First, are there any parentheses? No. Next, are there any exponents? No. All right, next comes multiplication and division. Are there any multiplication or division? There's both. Okay, so let's solve this. Moving left from right. Okay, 120 minus 40 divided by, stop, I'm stopping there. I see division, right? And remember, I said multiplication and division go together. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide 40 divided by 4. Now, you should be able to do that in your head like that. What is 40 divided by 4? Right, 10. Okay, so I know that that's 10. I'm going to rewrite my problem because you know me, I'm organized and I like to keep all of my things written so that I don't get confused. So I'm going to rewrite 120 minus 10 times 6. Okay, can I move on to addition and subtraction? No, you're right, because I still have what? Yeah, I still have the times 6, and now I have to do that. So here I go, moving from left to right. What am I going to multiply? 10 times 6, right. So what is 10 times 6? Yell it out to me. Yeah, right, 60. So I'm going to put a 60, and I'm going to rewrite my problem. 120 minus 60. Now, am I ready to move on to addition and subtraction? Yeah, because I don't have any more multiplication or division. So let's go ahead and look at what do I have. Do I have addition or subtraction? I have subtraction. So what is 120 minus 60? This should be a quick answer like that. If you remember back to when you were in primary, your doubles facts. Right, so your answer is what? Yep, you're correct. 60. Nice job. All right, let's take a look at this problem on the screen. You see 2 times 9 plus, and then in parentheses, 2 times 14. So let's go ahead, let's take a look at our order of operations. What is the first thing we're looking for? Right, parentheses. Do we have any parentheses? Yes, we do. We have 2 times 14 is in parentheses. So that is the first thing I'm going to be doing when I'm solving my problems. So go ahead and solve 2 times 14. If you know it in your head, great. If you need to do it on the side of your paper, go ahead and do that as well. What did you get? 28? Right. Got 28. Now, what am I going to do next? Right, I'm going to rewrite the problem. So 2 times 9 plus 28. Okay, now, do I have any exponents? No. Okay. Multiplication and division together. Do I have any multiplication or division? Right, I do. I have 2 times 9. Go ahead. What is 2 times 9? Awesome. 18. You're right. And then I'm going to rewrite the rest of the problem. That's right. Do I have any more multiplication or division? Nope. So what am I going to move on to? You got it. Addition and subtraction. So which one do I have? Do I both? What do I have? Right, I have addition. Okay, so what is 18 plus 28? If you need to do that on the side of your paper, go ahead and do it. I would highly recommend it. What did you get? 16, 3, 4. Did you get 46? So your answer is 46. As promised, I told you that we would come back and we would revisit this problem from the beginning of math. You see on our screen our problem, in parentheses, we have 6 plus 7 squared plus 1. So now you need to help me to solve this problem. What is the first thing I'm going to do? I want you to pause this video in just a moment and think about what is the first thing I'm going to do and why is that the first thing I'm going to do. Go ahead and pause now. All right, so what did you say is the first order or first operation that you're going to do in our problem? Okay, so I hear you saying parentheses, but what in these parentheses am I gonna do? Because here it does say that the first thing I'm gonna do is parentheses. But inside my parentheses, I have a problem, 6 plus 7 squared. Well, what am I gonna do first? What part of that? Yeah, so if you're saying 7 squared because that's what comes next, you would be correct. So what is 7 squared? Remember, I told you 7 squared is 7 times 7. It is not 7 times 2. You would probably give your teacher a heart attack if you said 7 times 2. What is 7 times 7? You got it, 49. So then I'm going to rewrite my problem. I'm still in my parentheses, right? Because I haven't done everything inside those parentheses because I have that plus 6. So now what am I going to do? Right, it's still inside the parentheses. I have to do 49 plus 6. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to pause the video. I would like for you to solve the rest of this problem. Once you have solved it, come back and double check your work with my work. Go ahead and pause now. Okay, so what did you get as your answer? Okay, let's see if you're correct. 49 plus 6, I'm going to do that over here on the side of my paper. I know 9 plus 6 is 15. 4 plus 1 is 5, so I have 55 as my 6 plus 49. And then I'm rewriting the problem and I have plus 1. What is 55 plus 1? That's correct. 56. So if you got 56, you would be correct. Nice work, 5th graders. Now it's time to set you off on your own and do a little work by yourself. You're going to see that I have assigned for you a playlist again this week with all of the assignments in the playlist. So you are not clicking out of the playlist and going other places. Everything is there for you. The first thing you're going to see after this assignment is you're going to be working on the practice. Remember, the practice is to be done on a separate sheet of paper, and you're working on numbers 8, 9, and 13. After you have worked on the practice, you're going to go into the practice buddy. As usual, when you're working through the practice buddy, the expectation is that you have a sheet of paper next to you and a pencil, and you're working through all of the problems on a separate sheet of paper. When you get to the end, you're going to go to the review screen, and you're going to hit submit. After the practice buddy, you're going to have a quick check. The quick check is 2 problems. Again, you're going to want to solve these problems on a separate sheet of paper and then put your answers in the quick check. And at the end, you're going to want to hit submit. Now, the quick check is different. This is something that has not been assigned in weeks prior. We want to see how you're doing after the practice buddy and see how what knowledge you've obtained for the order of operations through the quick check. If you have any questions, as always, please, please, please feel free to reach out to your teacher or to myself We are here for you to support you and are glad to help you in anything that you need. Good luck.